Liam Crowley of The Direct here with one of Damage Control's finest. He knows how to interrogate, take a punch, and even navigate that famous chain of barrier islands way down in North Carolina. You know him from Spider-Man Homecoming, Outer Banks, and most recently Spider-Man No Way Home. It's the incredible and tech-savvy Gary Weeks. Gary, thanks for taking the time to chat today.
Thank you, and thank you for the compliments. I appreciate it.
Of course. I'm so glad we were able to connect. You had a role in Spider-Man No Way Home that I feel like a lot of people glanced over, and only in recent weeks and months have people been saying, hey, that's the guy from Spider-Man Homecoming. And I want to go back to 2017 when that movie hit theaters. Your character was first introduced in that opening scene as a member of the Department of Damage Control. How did this role come to be?
It's funny because obviously when we knew the movie was going to be coming down here, we jumped on it. All of me and every actor I knew was like, we got to get on Spider-Man. We got to figure out how to get on Spider-Man. And I read for a different role that was kind of a small role, and I didn't hear much about it for a while. And then the next thing I know, I got this, and then I'm getting punched by Michael Keaton over and over and over and over again.
And, you know, you mentioned it perfectly in terms of my next question. Agent Foster's kind of most memorable moment from Spider-Man Homecoming is taking that right hook from old Michael Keaton. How much did you and Keaton rehearse that moment?
Oh, dude, we did it so many different times. We rehearsed it a lot. They're really great about making sure that everything's safe and perfect. But he's, you know, it's funny because, first of all, he's one of the reasons I became an actor. He's one of my favorite actors in the world. So I'm going up there, I'm getting punched out by, you know, one of my heroes. And when you get punched out by your hero 80 times, you're like, maybe we do something else from it. No, but it was, they're so good as far as like keeping everything in line and being able to do it. And he was so fun to do it, and watching him, like watching the way that he beats it out and does his thing. It was pretty fantastic. I mean, I had times where my gun flew out, you know, things that we slipped around, we missed. Luckily never connected, which I guess that was pretty good.
Yeah, and it looked killer when the movie came out itself, and I'm glad you're able to rehearse it very safely. But kind of on that topic, you and Keaton obviously worked closely together in that scene in particular. Did you share any fun moments with one of your acting heroes behind the scenes?
Just being able to talk to him and just kind of seeing it. One of the things that I thought was really cool, and I mean this, Michael, if you hear this, I mean this as a massive compliment. But when we were doing the first run through, he's got his sides and he's kind of walking from each thing. He's like, okay, I say this, and I'm gonna walk up here and I'm gonna do this. And he turns, and then, why do I do this? I'm gonna get, because I do this. And he's all saying it to himself. And all of a sudden I was like, I have studied Michael Keaton too much, because it felt like exactly what I do. And that was just one of those moments I was like, that's pretty cool. That was a pretty fun little thing. And he's a great guy, and he can kind of snap in and out, which is really fun for me.
Yeah, imitation is the finest form of flattery, and that's really cool that you kind of pulled that acting technique from Keaton. I'm sure he very much appreciated that. The following year, though, you returned to Marvel in a different form on Marvel Television with Freeform's Cloak and Dagger, which was a Marvel Television production. Obviously, those two sides are kind of merging together as we see Netflix shows migrating over to Disney+. But back in 2018, they were two separate entities. So how did working with Marvel Television compare to the proper Marvel Studios?
It was just, you know, as far as the way that we did it, it felt more like shooting television, but it looked like the movies. Like that was one of the things I was really impressed with, the way they did it. I think not knowing a lot about that comic book. I had not really read much about the comic book. It was awesome, but being able to be a part of how it started was, you know, pretty fantastic. And also to do something where I don't know one day to the next what's ever going to happen. And because I don't know those like I know the other comic books. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and obviously you didn't return in Spider-Man Far From Home the following year in 2019, but you were back in this past December's Spider-Man No Way Home. What prompted that return after 4 years?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. I mean, John and I and everybody, we got along really well. We had a lot of fun. And in those scenes, like, you know, you only see me for the split second, but I was in all of every single interrogation I'm in, all those you see, if you see belts and anything, I'm all through all those. It was really fun because it was like getting to see people I hadn't seen in a while, and they're just fun. I think that was part of the thing. I mean, I like to think that maybe I was able to come back because we have fun together. And that's what I was hoping that it was. And he did tell me, he was like, you lost your job and then you got back and then you got demoted. So that's what happened to my character at the time. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned obviously John Watts. You two seem to have a decently close relationship, both on Homecoming and No Way Home. And it sounds like he might have been one of the driving forces between bringing you back into the fold. And also Marvel loves to maintain continuity. And it's always fun to see even background characters, agents of bigger departments show up. What was your experience working with John Watts, the director, like both on Homecoming and No Way Home?
I loved it. I mean, to me, he's an actor, director. He knows what he wants, which is pretty incredible. But he also lets us play. And when you have that kind of thing to do, it makes what we're doing a lot easier and a lot more fun. And he will just out of nowhere come up with something in the middle of a scene. Go, okay, he'll start. You can see him laughing from behind the camera. And he'll let you kind of roll with it, do whatever. He'll throw things in, and everybody on that whole thing seems to be that way. It feels like everybody has the freedom to kind of like throw in a little bit, and he just kind of wheels it. It's fantastic. He's got a great mind, and it's really great with actors and everybody on there. But he really does. He's got a mind that never stops, and it's just amazing to see. It's exhausting.
It's been really cool too to see him direct all 3 Spider-Man movies. It's the first time it's ever happened in the grand Marvel Cinematic Universe. No one director has taken an entire trilogy by himself. So obviously his fingerprints are all over the character, and also with your character as well. Even though you only had a couple scenes in the MCU so far, I'm sure, as you mentioned, there were a lot of takes of those scenes, but were there also any scenes that were shot that didn't make the final cut?
Oh yeah, I think one of the things is, I mean, I can't speak for all of it, but I do think we do overshoot. Like we shoot a lot of stuff and to try it and see, so they have it, so the editors can get in and play with whatever. So yeah, there's lots of pieces and ad libs and things that got moved out. There was a scene that we never even shot that was originally in there, and a scene where in the movie, it's like about 4 seconds, we kind of bust into the house and start messing things up. And that was a much longer scene. But those are, that's what's best for the film, and that's what makes it great.
Mm-hmm. And after 4 years was your return to the Spider-Man franchise. Obviously 2017 was Homecoming, December 2021 was No Way Home. But in terms of the canon of the MCU, your character first shows up in the opening scene back in 2017 Spider-Man Homecoming, which takes place in 2012. And now here you are in a movie that takes place in 2024. So even though it's only been 4 years in real time, it's been a canonical 12. And within those 12 years, a pretty big thing happened in the MCU. Thanos snapped his fingers. Was Agent Foster a victim of the decimation?
Well, I think maybe a little bit of both. I think when he snapped his fingers, my hair went gray. So I'm not sure where I went, but somewhere in that thing, I was like, "That's all you're gonna do?" I love the theories of anything that could happen with Thanos. I love the fact that there may be a movie at some point, and this is just me speaking. I have no idea. A movie where some are in there, some are not. They get mixed through, and it just opens up such a crazy world. And we already know the world is crazy with all the Marvel. So it's interesting and almost impossible to think about what could happen.
Yeah, and it's the everyday civilian theories that are the coolest for me. Like what happens when someone returns and their daughter has grown up by 5 years? We saw that with Scott Lang. What happens if someone snapped while they're driving a car and maybe causes an accident? The yes. Theories that are going on with everything within the MCU, the ramifications of an event that took place 3 years ago in terms of movie-wise, it's absolutely crazy. But also beyond just the Thanos ramifications, your character obviously has passed 12 canonical years, maybe 7 if he was snapped. In fact, did you approach the character any differently now that it has been so much time within the universe?
We talked a little about it. The main thing I thought about was he's tired. He's tired. He's still trying to move up to it, but he's just a little more. I think getting knocked out by Michael Keaton 42 times or whatever number it would be, I think it kind of humbled him a little bit. And after a while, he's kind of, I'll still come in and be tough. And there's the parts of the scenes that did make the film that had a little more of that. side and doing some fun stuff with Peter. But yeah, I mean, I think that's just kind of where it is.
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to your scenes in No Way Home, very much at the beginning towards the start of Act 1, within the context of the film when surprises were happening, it was close to when, you know, Charlie Cox shows up as Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, but it is a long time before both Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire return as their iterations of Spider-Man. In terms of the secrecy that was going on set, did you know about any of those 3 cameos?
I knew nothing. I'm not even kidding you. I mean, you hear rumors, not from set. You just hear rumors from all the magazines and things going on. I literally they're so secret. I get my pages, and then it's just that with my lines and maybe the other lines in the scene, and that would be it. You know, it's like, to me, when I went and saw the movie, I was just as blown away as everybody else. And I thought it was fantastic. It was unbelievably good.
That's like really cool to hear. I love when they, you know, go the extra mile to preserve secrets, because even though obviously you're an actor, you're not going to say anything. They just want to keep that secret so tight to the vest that there's no chance anyone even knows. So that's really cool to hear. But your probably most famous project to date, at least for me, is Outer Banks. You've been in 2 seasons of the show. You're responsible, at least your show, for my current hairstyle. I wanted to grow it out after seeing JJ and John B and everything. But obviously it was a smash hit in 2020. Things were kind of on pause in the entertainment world. Then all of a sudden Outer Banks comes along and Left Hand Free is blaring through everybody's speakers all summer long. Do you have any fond memories filming that special cult classic first season that you'd like to share?
Oh man, it was just, it's hard to say with a guy who's not very nice on the show that he had a really good time hanging out with everybody. But yeah, I mean, just the instant camaraderie that everybody had, and everyone was so excited, and they were making this great thing. I grew up in South Georgia, so basically where we were shooting and a lot of those things, I'd seen those kind of places, and it felt kind of like home, and meeting everybody there felt like home. And I just had a feeling, you know, this show could go somewhere. And then I saw it, because again, you know, I only saw my stuff. And then I saw what was going on in the first one. I was like, this thing's going to be a massive hit. And I hope I don't die super early. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's really cool to see here, just because the experience of watching Outer Banks, like I said, it was a bright spot when entertainment was on very much of a pause, and to hear that you guys kind of felt the specialness of, man, we really got something here filming the show itself. That's really cool to hear. And you obviously shared a lot of scenes with your character's son, JJ, played by Rudy Pankow. And a lot of people, including myself, are kind of fan casting him within the MCU because of his blonde hair, because of his brash, kind of cocky attitude in Outer Banks. People are saying he would be a pretty good Johnny Storm, aka Human Torch. That Fantastic Four movie is fast in development. We're likely going to get it in the next couple of years. Could you see Rudy pulling off Human Torch?
Oh my God. Not only could I see him pulling it off, I think he could raise the bar on it. I mean, it's amazing what's been done. So I didn't mean it that way. I just mean he's got something with him that he can be sweet and amazing. And he also has this like burning side that's, you know, that side that wants to be heard and seen and all those kind of things. Just exactly what I think would be perfect for that character. And you're dead on with the hair. The hair's amazing. I've asked him, I was like, when you cut your hair, can you just send it to me? Because I'm going to try to figure out a way to just kind of plant it in. Because I want the cool, he's got the cool hair. And he's the sweetest dude around, man. I mean, everybody is on the show, but he's just, you know, he's the guy you want to be working with on set. And they would be lucky to have him if that did happen. So let's keep putting it out there that it's going to happen.
I love that. It's big shoes to fill. You know, we had Chris Evans in the role before, Michael B. Jordan, Rudy Pankow. I think he could hold his own. And like you said, I think he could raise the bar as well. Yeah. Speaking of Outer Banks, your character obviously played into seasons 1 and season 2. We know season 3 is filming right now. If you're allowed to share, can we expect Luke back for season 3?
I can tell you that if he is back, I can't tell you. It's just a kind of a more or less an NDA thing, but it's also just kind of a fun thing. Even if I could, I can't tell you, because I want everybody to see the show as it is. Because I mean, you know, even when I shoot my stuff, that's what I see. So I'm learning it as I watch them too. So I can't take a chance at spoiling anything for anybody. I can't do that. We'll see what happens.
Of course, we got to keep them close to the vest. Even
Right.
the secrets that you might know. You're not in on the Spider-Man secrets, but the ones that you do know, still making sure they stay hush hush. I respect that so much. Very much looking forward to season 3. Hopefully, we're gonna get it soon enough. But going back to the MCU, even if your future in Outer Banks may be uncertain, your future in the MCU probably uncertain as well. But your character is in a department, that being damage control, that has a vast history in the comics. It's one of the most popular kind of subsections of the Marvel Comics universe. And many are kind of clamoring for the department as a whole to maybe get a spin-off series on Disney Plus, kind of give a civilian perspective on what happens after the giant battles. Could you see Agent Foster and the DODC, having some sort of spin-off series? And on top of that, are there any Marvel wreckages from famous battles over the past 12 years that you'd like to clean up?
Oh man, that's well, I would let's see. I would love to go to Robert Downey's house and go through all the things there and see see what was left. Even the stuff that's just blown up and remained is probably years and years and years of fun. But what was the other question? Now I started thinking about that. I was like, oh, that house. I forgot what we were saying.
Yeah, no, the Malibu mansion from Iron Man 3, that was absolutely destroyed. And I bet DODC was probably there in the short aftermath after. But the question specifically, could you see a Department of Damage Control series happening?
Yes, I definitely could. I think it's a good timing for it to do it fairly close to now. Like, I could see it within the next couple of years. Now, this is just me talking. I don't know what they're doing. But I think it would be great because it's another adage to it. And it's a great thing to have cameos kind of pop in whenever, creating the characters that we don't get to see very much, like Rudy when he's on there.
Well, here's hoping. We got a whole checklist. We want Rudy Pankow as Human Torch. We want a Damage Control spinoff series. And we're fingers crossed for Luke showing back up in season 3 of Outer Banks. Thank you so much, Gary, for your time. Before we wrap this up, I do always want to give anyone I chat with the opportunity to plug anything they have coming up that you are allowed to speak about. So do you have any fun projects that are in development that we should be on the lookout for in 2022?
Well, we still have Sweet Magnolias is still going. That just started going again on Netflix. And I do have one more project that I can't talk about yet. But it will be fun. I will promise you it will be fun.
Well, I'm excited to check it out, whatever it is. Gary, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much. See ya.